Blog number 55. These may help. Over the span of my life, I have been many things. Now, some of these things were admittedly suggested while being shouted at me by other people, and they cannot be repeated in this venue, or in any other polite conversation for that matter. In fact, I would be happy if they were never mentioned again. However, when I think about my life, all the things that I have become and accomplished, a few truths about myself do become glaringly obvious. One of which is the sobering reality that I am not an inventor. Oh, I have had my share of ideas over the years. In fact, one of those light bulb moments happened when I was in my early 20s. Back in the late 80s, a friend and I had a brilliant idea of putting a pizza on the barbecue. We used barbecue sauce, and the cheese had a very rich and smoky flavor. It was delicious, a true stroke of culinary genius. But a month later, as I was driving past a take and bake restaurant, I saw a sign that invited people to take home one of their pizzas and try it on the barbecue. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. That was my idea. And at that moment, I saw the potential earnings balloon from a successful invention begin to seriously deflate. I saw profits and company stocks swirling down a rather large drain. One thing I do know for sure, though, is that my wife is probably pretty sick of hearing the whine of my voice whenever I tell this story. Although I'm not sure why. I have only repeated this particular tale of tragic woe several thousand times to family, friends, strangers, and even neighborhood dogs. Basically, anyone or anything with two ears that I can hold captive for 5 minutes. If you have been reading the blogs that I've written over the past 2.5 years, then you are familiar with all the ideas and thoughts that I have had. Gadgets that I have dreamed up that would simplify my life. From the pants putter oner to the back exploding parachute. I imagined a restaurant named Chez Spastix to a form of Italian karate named Ataxia Karate. In my everyday journey through life with a taxi along for the ride, I continued to see and imagine things that could be possible, well, at least in my thinking, and that could be used to help me along the way. Here are several more that I have recently come up with. The Venetian Stairs. Stairways everywhere, in every part of the world, would be required to be fitted to have this capability. The idea would be that every stairway would have a rod at the top and one at the bottom that could be accessed by a handicapped person and twisted so that the stairs would fold flat like window shades and become a ramp. Not a bad idea, huh? There should be an official watch group set up to go around the world and identify all the public hazards that are caused by stairs. Maybe I should form a group named Be Aware, Don't Forget Ataxians Living Life, or BADFALL for short, which spells bad fall. Spray on clothing. It has been argued that life has become too simple as we lean more and more on technology that is being designed to make our lives easier. That we're actually becoming dumber while our phones and various gadgets are becoming smarter. But what I'm talking about here is not just another gadget or convenience for the general public. It is for those of us who, to varying degrees, are handicapped and struggle with everyday chores, like getting dressed. The idea would be that another setting could exist on your shower head that would allow a person to select their clothing for the day from their wardrobe. Once finished with their shower, They could again sit or stand underneath the spray, twist the knob to the last setting, and they'd have the desired clothing applied. I am also thinking of a handheld unit, for those quick changes on the go. Skinless food. More and more with the unrelenting advancement of time, I am finding that a choke-free eating experience is, like a lot of other things that were taken for granted in the past, is going into hiding. They have actually gotten really good at this too, because no matter how hard I look, I can't find them. It's getting so that I can't even enjoy a cup of coffee in the morning without occasionally going for the violent liquid spewing record. Actually, I think that tacking on the liquid emissions event to the Olympic Ironman competition would be appropriate. Contestants could say run for 4 miles, bike uphill for 5 miles, swim in a strong current for 2 miles, snipe targets at 1,000 yards, and then blow a mouthful of liquid 30 yards. But I digress. My main desire in this category would be apples that are grown without that pesky skin. I'd love to be able to pick up an apple and take a worry-free bite like I did when I was a kid. Self-made beds. I know they freak out and worry some people, but I personally love automated stuff. I know that right now several companies are working on self-driving cars. This would be really cool. And of the many benefits to this, one big one would be traffic safety and a reduction of all sorts of wrecks and preventable accidents. But of course, the only way that I can see this working is if everyone adopts the concept. And these cars don't have to try and share the road with people that insist on driving themselves. But I'm not thinking about what could benefit me in a few years. I'm thinking about what could benefit me right now. After having just laundered and spending time making the bed, I can, with complete conviction, and imagine at this point that I'm looking you right in the eyes, I can imagine with complete conviction and say that I would unabashedly love to throw clean sheets on the bed and have them stretch themselves out and tuck themselves in. Self-driving screw tops. I know that I have written about my battle with the screw lid before, but at the danger of repeating myself, I feel that this topic cannot be overstressed. The screw top invokes in me a reaction that is much like Superman's response to kryptonite. My legs grow weak, my vision blurs, and I get shaky. Seriously, it takes me so long to accomplish this task that I can start to put a lid on a bottle around Valentine's Day and walk into the living room after a victorious struggle, only to find my family decorating the Christmas tree. Okay, so that's a slight exaggeration. I would more likely find my family putting up Thanksgiving decorations. Really, it's not just the placing of the cap onto the bottle, which is also a problem not to be overlooked. It's the screwing of the cap so that all the grooves line up and the lid is sitting straight, not at some kind of weird 45-degree angle, which is what usually happens during the first dozen attempts. Whenever I remove the lid so that I can take another run at it, I will always lose my grip and drop it. The worst is when I've dropped it for 4th or 5th time and it rolls under the hutch in my kitchen. Well, then I just have to prepare myself for an extended journey down to the floor to retrieve the cap. It is a huge process, and all I'm saying is that it would be nice if I could just hold the lid several inches from the bottle. It would attach itself and begin to rotate its own way down the neck. That's all I'm asking. Would it be so hard for someone to invent this? And speaking of automated items, that leads me to the last item that I would like to mention, the self-remove tamper-proof seal. I realize that these are used for public safety, and they do give us an incredible peace of mind to see the seal and know that no one else has been tampering or using our items in any way. But come on, the struggle to remove one has become for me a time to reflect on my life and to come to terms with whether or not I really need the particular item that I'm trying to open in the first place. I usually end up using my teeth, and that doesn't help either because I end up just getting a nasty paper or foil taste in my mouth, and I just give up. Maybe if the manufacturers would make the safety seal taste like the product that's hidden behind the armored covering, it would act like a motivator. I'd be like, hey, that's pretty good. I'm going to keep on going. And then I'd be motivated to do whatever it takes to get past that security barrier instead of moving on to easier pickings. The way I see this happening is that to have all products with a safety seal tied to an external locking mechanism, and only when the item has been purchased, the barcode has been scanned, and the item has been removed from the store will it finally unseal itself. I could keep going because there are literally hundreds of banes to my existence. It's funny, but I never noticed all these things I encounter on a daily basis that have become a problem until they actually became a problem. But like always, I find the best therapy to get me through is my ability and willingness to keep laughing at these things and my attempts to overcome them.